Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Am I the A-hole? Story 1. AITA for wanting to pretend to be sick and not go on my New Year's trip with my best friends. So my two best friends and I are very close. On February they decided they wanted to go to a beach trip for New Year's Eve. I wasn't sure I wanted to go, so they booked it for themselves. They had been trying to convince me to join, and finally by June I said yes, even though I wasn't completely convinced that I wanted to. I struggle a bit with that feeling of not knowing if you are being respectful of what you want or you are just being rude to others, so I normally end up agreeing with what others want. So since I've decided to join, I started paying my part and I bought my ticket. I was also living abroad when I decided to join in June and just came back home a few weeks ago. Since I've been back, I'm having a really hard time trying to connect again with my friend group. I feel like we are just in different moments of our life and the interaction just feels kind of forced and awkward. I feel like everyone is trying, but there is just something there that doesn't really let us connect as we did before, and now we are a couple of days away from our trip and I just really don't feel like going. For a bit of context too, I recently kind of took a break from party and alcohol and I have really enjoyed not doing that, and I know this trip is completely about drinking and partying. And I also have to say I recently gained a bit of weight and it also makes me feel a bit insecure being at the beach right now. So T and I have been considering pretending to be sick and not going. I love them and I know they have also felt this distance between us, and I don't want to make it worse by bailing on our trip pretending to be sick, which I know they will probably suspect is not true, but it just gave me such a peaceful feeling to imagine that scenario of not going. I have also been a bit distant and not having attended a couple of events recently for the same reason. I've been trying though to stay very active on the group chat and pretend that is all okay so it doesn't feel weird between us, but I'm afraid that if I take this decision I'll be the asshole who is just being rude and distant, and that will cause an even bigger rupture between us, but I also just feel like I want to stay home. Story 2. AITA for refusing to wear my Sil's wedding dress to my wedding. I, 23F, am getting married to my fiancé, 24M, in a month. He has an identical twin brother with whom he's keeping a bit of a distance with cause of his past possessive behavior of wanting to share everything with each other, from interests, hobbies and even friends. His brother got eloped to his wife, 27F, and even suggested to my fiancé to do the same on the same day as him, but of course he shut that down quickly as we both agreed on having a wedding already. However, I ended up being contacted by my fiancé's brother requesting me to wear his wife's wedding dress from their elopement to my wedding, which I obviously turned down, telling him that I've already got a specific wedding dress on my mind. He dropped the subject and for 2 weeks I didn't hear about it again, so I thought that was the end of it, but yesterday my fiancé's brother and his wife showed up at our house, uninvited may I add, got up Sil's wedding dress and then literally asked me to try out right here and that they'd make adjustments if the size doesn't fit. Thank God my husband stepped in and kicked them both out of our house, even though it did end up with a really big argument between my fiancé and his brother. I got contacted again later on by my BIL, who said that my inability to make any compromises in order for his and his brother's wedding experiences to be intertwined is straining their relationship. Honestly, at this point I'm just getting the creeps from BIL, and my gut's telling me that him and Sil may attempt to sabotage our wedding out of revenge, and even my husband agrees with the sentiment. We're now strongly considering to uninvite both my BIL and Sil from our wedding, but my husband's still a bit reluctant to do it yet cause of the inevitable drama it'll cause with his family. AITA. Story 3. AITA for uninviting a couple to Friendsgiving. I, 20F, and my fian, 24M, are hosting a Friendsgiving. Instead of having everyone bring something, we decided that we would rent a limo and eat at a very nice restaurant. Everyone's meal and transportation will be paid by us. After sending out the invitations, a couple who we talked to occasionally brought it up and in a way self-invited themselves. It came off as a surprise to me and I invited them without really thinking about it. Later that day I thought more about the situation and decided I would talk to them more about it when I saw them again. Keep in mind this Friendsgiving will only be adults. No children. They have 2 kids and no one to look after them if they go. The following Sunday I saw them and uninvited them to Friendsgiving. They said it was fine. Since then they have been distant and no longer talk to me. Was I wrong for uninviting them? Story 4. AITA for hiding my saving from my fiancé. I recently got engaged to my fiancé after 2 years of dating, and told her we should probably start looking at houses. She told me that we didn't have the money for a deposit on a mortgage, but I personally have a lot of money in savings. It's a little bit more than $160,000. My girlfriend was initially just shocked because it is a lot of money for a 24-year-old to have saved. I've been extremely lucky in life. After a couple of days she began to be annoyed at me. She felt like I was hiding this from her. I told her that I didn't hide it from her. I was just raised to not talk about personal finances with anyone other than someone you're married to, and I figured engaged is close enough that I'm happy to talk about it. I also said that I had actually used these savings to help her before. I've paid her rent a few times when she couldn't and paid a couple $1,000s for her dog to get surgery. She was still quite angry and has been giving me the silent treatment for the past day. My parents don't see the problem. Her parents understand my perspective but think I should have told her when we moved in together last year. None of our friends know because I don't feel comfortable talking about it with them. I've already asked her if we can talk about it when she's ready and she just said she'd let me know when she was. I don't think this is relationship ending, but I know she probably wants me to admit I was wrong. I don't think I've done anything wrong. So I'm asking you guys more so out of curiosity for what others think. Story 5. AITA for not wanting to go on my family trip. AITA for not wanting to go on my family's European trip? IM25 was invited to go on a trip to Europe with my family. At first I said I was interested but after having some time to think about it I really would rather not go. I enjoy traveling with my fiancé and would rather do a big trip with her as I have gone on family trips every year probably up to my 22nd birthday. With my parents and siblings working full-time now family trip have become pretty rare. Those trips have usually been domestic or just in North America and usually a relaxing trip with a few excursions. Now you may be thinking what's wrong with saying no before anything has been planned or paid for. One of my parents will take it personally if I say no, and it will be a long issue that's brought up very often and will probably be held onto for a long time. I have a good relationship with my family but at this stage I would rather travel with my fiancé. Am I the Story 6. AITA for telling my friend's BF that he shouldn't have been allowed to eat. Some friends and I decided to do the trend where we have a dinner and everybody brings a food that starts with the first letter of their name. There is one friend of ours that's a bit of a moocher. Whenever we go out she never pays for stuff, whether it's the dinner bill, tickets for the movies etc., we always end up paying for her. But everyone accepted this and doesn't really have an issue with it. However recently, it's become worse. She's been dating this guy for a couple of months and she brings him everywhere with her, even when he's not invited. So now we have 2 people to pay for. Also I feel like I have to say that they have jobs, they're not struggling. It'd be different if they were broke, then of course I wouldn't mind. But yay, we had the dinner last night and everybody brought food and put a lot of effort into it. These 2 however showed up with absolutely nothing. Not even a bottle of soda. We were annoyed but nobody said anything. It wasn't until the end of the night when they were leaving, that I cracked a little. The friend's BF was taking home all the barbecue ribs that were left. I repeat, all of it, and it was a lot. Like damn, be considerate at least. He emptied the entire tray of ribs into a container. That's when I politely asked, can you maybe not take all of it? The others might want some too. He got all defensive and asked, why are you treating me like I'm stealing all the food? I clarified that I never said such a thing and that I only asked that he didn't take all of it. He got angry, plopped the ribs back and said, fine, I don't need your food, to which I replied, it kinda seems like you do, and to be honest, you shouldn't have eaten at all since you didn't contribute again, as usual. Then my friend came, took him and just left without saying anything. Now apparently, she's angry with us, mainly me. Most of my friend group doesn't think I did anything wrong, but there are a couple who are saying that I shouldn't have said anything. The thing is that I didn't even say anything to my friend because I don't mind that she doesn't contribute. Her boyfriend was the one irritating me. He eats the most food but doesn't contribute, drinks the most alcohol, doesn't contribute, orders really expensive meals at restaurants, doesn't contribute towards the bill. I guess I got kind of annoyed and snapped at him. I tried phoning her to clarify that I don't have any issue with her, but she's ignoring me. I dunno, maybe I should have left well enough alone. Story 7. AITA for staying distant from an issue between my best friend and my girlfriend. Story 8. AITA for telling my parents off. I, 30, F, originally from the Philippines and raised by Filipino parents, is now living in England for 3 years. I've been working abroad for 5 years now, 2 years in Saudi and 3 years here in the UK. I've been working as a nurse for 10 years, and since I started working, I never stopped supporting my parents. As we all know, we have this culture in the Philippines where children are expected to pay back their parents for supporting them, raising them, and sending them to school. Unending gratitude, as we may say. Once a Filipino child finishes school and starts working, they are expected to give a portion of their salary to their parents/family as support. Since I started working, this is what I do. Sometimes, a whole lot. Imagine, 10 years of working and I still don't have any savings, cause my parents will always need money even though I don't know where they need it for, cause I am sending them monthly anyway. To give you a rough summary, ever since I started working overseas, I have been sending them PHP 30,000, more or less 500, every month. Almost 1/4 of my monthly pay. But when I moved here to the UK, since I had to pay my bills and all, I asked them if PHP 20,000, 300, was enough, cause I still needed to set my budget for all the bills, and of course, I still wanted to live a comfortable life here. Comes every November/December every year. I noticed that my mum during this time of the year, she always need a big chunk of money, like more than 1,000, saying she needs to pay someone cause she borrowed to do this and that, which I don't understand how she ended up owing someone that much where I am sending them money anyway. Money that's enough for their daily needs. But recently, I had enough. I am saving for my wedding in 2025, so I'm trying to be as frugal as I can be. Meaning, that would affect my remittance to my family. I thought it was fine cause I'm starting my own family, so it's not just me anymore. One day, I called my mum to wish her a happy birthday, and the first thing she told me, she needed more money cause they were extending their/our house in the Philippines and they got short. I was gagged. I told them it was not my responsibility anymore, as that is their house and I no longer live there. I told them they should have not started it in the first place if they knew they didn't have enough funds for it. I felt bad cause it was her birthday and I was arguing with her about it. But I was also upset cause every time I want to catch up with them, the conversion will just lead to them asking me for some financial support. I feel like Filipino parents are good at guilt-tripping their children, like as if we asked them so we can be here in this crooked world. So, AITA for putting an end to this toxic culture my parents are using against me. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.